Good morning. I'm Belinda, and for the last 2.5 years, I've been using a weight loss medication, which has enabled me to shed 6 stone, or just over 80 pounds. This journey hasn't been easy. For the past 30 years previously, I would have found myself kind of trapped in a frustrating loop of dieting. I would manage to lose the weight only to see it come back really, really soon with more, leaving me feeling like a failure every single time. But for me, it wasn't just about eating. I used to get a huge sense of comfort from food, especially from indulging in nice foods. And sometimes it was how I coped as well. I would eat if I was happy. I would eat if I was definitely sad. And yeah, so this has definitely been a life-changing experience for me, and I want to share my story really in the hope that it might encourage others who are dealing with challenges quite similar to mine. And so now that I'm on the other side of 3 decades of toxic dieting, relapsing and regaining, I want to talk about something that isn't really spoken about when you start your GLP-1 medications. Like mostly people talk about the weight loss, the appetite suppression, the physical changes, which are all amazing, but what doesn't get talked about enough is what happens in your brain on this medication. And so for most of my life, food was my greatest source of dopamine. It was my comfort, my celebration, my escape. Every bite of something indulgent wasn't just about the taste. It was about soothing, numbing, rewarding. So of course, when I started my GLP-1 journey and that drive to eat suddenly changed, something else had to change too. And the reality is, if you take away the things that has given you your biggest dopamine hit of your life, your brain is going to notice. Whether GLP-1 medications are working by making me feel fuller, faster, and that in turn is dialing down the dopamine response. Or if they're acting directly on my dopamine receptors and making them less responsive, I don't know the exact science, but I do know how it makes me feel. Eating less and losing weight and like giving up foods that you've loved for years is hard. Sometimes it's about identity, habit, comfort. Like for so long, I was using food to soothe me, to regulate me, to feel okay. And I didn't want those foods in the same way anymore when I started my GLP-1. But here's the thing. If food was your coping mechanism and suddenly you're no longer reaching for it, like what's left? The only thing that's left is the emotions, the discomfort, and the raw reality of facing life without that hit of relief. And I know people talk about mood changes on these medications, like it's the actual drug that's making them feel this way. But I don't think that's the whole story. I think what's really happening is that many of us who are coming face to face with what the addiction to food was masking. If you take away something that was giving you constant dopamine hits, you don't feel the same anymore, do you? Of course you don't, you know? And you do notice the absence of it. And that's really uncomfortable. But that doesn't mean that the medication is harming you. It means the addiction was always there, and it probably still is, but we're having to now cope with not having food as a crutch. And that's hard. And I think that's why I don't believe the fairy tale of losing weight will magically happen and make everybody happy. Weight loss is just one part of the equation. The real work is figuring out what fills that space that food used to fill for us, what actually brings you joy, comfort, relief in a way that doesn't harm you anymore. You know, it definitely harmed me using food as a crutch. Are these medications perfect? Absolutely not. No, but they are powerful and they are life-changing. And when you weigh up the risks against the benefits, you have to ask, what's the alternative? Because obesity is not just a number on the scales. It carries real devastating risks with it. You know, and this is a treatment. It is not a cure. And, you know, if a treatment does exist for the disease of obesity and it can help people break free from the cycle I just spoke about, even if it comes with challenges, then surely, like, it's worth considering. And my story of my GLP-1 journey over the past 2.5 years isn't just about weight loss. It's about rewiring years of behavior. It's about facing hard truths and finally giving myself a chance of something better. So the work doesn't stop with a smaller body. It's just the beginning.